Okay, our next reader is Richie Hott. Now, Richie Hott, I met about 6 or 7 years ago here in the city. He lives in Florida now. He came all the way up from Florida with his wife and some friends. So I'm very honored that he's come back. This is his second time reading with us. It turns out that Richie is from Bath Beach, Bensonhurst, like I am, and was born and raised around the corner from me, but I didn't know this until I met him in 2012. So he went to PS 101, as I did, junior high school 128, and we both went to Cornell, although I dropped out of Cornell. I wasn't happy there. So let's hear a warm welcome for Richie Hott, wonderful spoken word poet, coming all the way from Florida to read for us. Okay, Richie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Diane. I could never qualify for Karen's publication because my poems are a lot longer than 16 lines, as you can see right now. But one day, you never know. Anyway, this first poem I wrote about a friend of mine. This is called For JM, and the title is Endearing, because he is very endearing to me, and very special because I met him in a bar on West 57th Street and 7th Avenue, and I just looked at him and I observed him for about 45 minutes, and while I was observing him, words came into my head, and I wrote this poem. The words just came pouring out about him. And after I was done, I signed my name and I gave him the poem. I told him I might ask you to send me a copy one day. You know, but anyway, so this poem kind of wended its way up through the years, and I'm always revising my work and going back to it, like the poet who this series is named after, the first one. You know, I haven't published my Leaves of Grass yet, but one day I will. Anyway, for J.M. Endearing. A former professor of philosophy, given to practical theosophy in a world full of animosity. An old commie by McCarthy pedigree, dressed in blend of corduroy and khaki. Father knows best patch on each elbow sleeve. Just hopped off a jitney from an epiphany on a weekend retreat with his Jesuit priest. Sits in a bar with a tall Irish coffee. Watches women's dream team shoot hoops on TV. Reads breaking news headlines on giant split screen. Heaps of fresh whipped cream with a smidgen of it dribbling down the left side from his upper lip. He's a bit disheveled, but still looking hip with his ink pen notepad, a knapsack, book bag, tousled white hair with academic flair. He could travel anywhere, always prepared for a night in jail or a day at a fair. He was a throwback to another era when counter-revolution was in the air and soldiers of protest marched on asphalt streets watched by police, the discourse scorched by vitriol's heat. In old cities, relentless, sprayed with tear gas. You could see him at the head of the masses. He was young then, robust, stood up to the wind, leading his charges with Father Berrigan in the gutters of imperialism, for love of country and idealism, for truth and egalitarianism, for humanity and creative vision, for the voiceless victims of derision, a prism of hope and redress given to beggar and bum, and to all those under power's thumb, a measure of dignity where there was none. He became the peace movement's face of arrest, stunned by electricity, clubbed in the chest, beaten to a bloody mess, a broken jaw, wired, bound, and locked down so he might speak no more. Fingerprints and mugshot in gray metal door. File marked. opposition to endless war. Yet he kept coming back each time more restored, nonviolent, defiant, with soft-spoken roar, a ramming post in the establishment's door, a thorn in the backside of the good old boys, gangsters in suspenders and white pleated pants, pork-bellied, cowardly, political men who would not serve but shunned their nation back then, yet now would recruit and remand your children to kill and be killed in a faraway land. For what noble purpose or redeeming end? For a golf course carved out of swamp and rock sand? The professor remained the poet's best friend. He took to the soapbox when fate would demand. He observed the inhuman course of events, wondered aloud while his tax dollars were spent unmercifully without conscience or sense under the specter of corporate influence in medieval Iraq and Afghanistan, while the Arctic warmed on the drills of oil men to grease the wheels of a perverse dark commerce, while ignorance mushroomed to make matters worse, to keep the meek masses befuddled by fear in the pews of glass churches ensconced in prayer, while contractors conduct the business of war and a campaign promise like any eyesore is covered with brush strokes of Christian Dior, and prayer breakfast hosts massage the news. Such mendacity would make the old man puke. Tether them in rebuke to a border fence. Let them see the nature of their circumstance. Blustering fools who may never come to know the love that rejoices in his gentle soul. And so the old professor soaks in love's glow. He'd rather not speak, but we'll give it a go. And if you insist, we'll have one for the road and recount the years that have taken their toll. And it's all rendered him slightly out of sorts as he grabs his notepad and jots down his thoughts. All he heard and all he saw brought him closer to his spiritual core, drove him to supplicate before his source that he might heal, that his heart might open in all. Now awake with hope and faith, he rolls the tape, lets go his breath and begins to meditate. A burst of colors permeate his mind's eye, somewhere beyond the North Star, high above his bar, and the swirling sea, an ethereal glee of an empty mind and an Irish coffee. A barmaid with a lean waist and sculpted face, revealing just a trace of cascading lace, hypnotically hovering her hard curved shape. She is captivating to his refined taste, leaving him to swim in his deep lucid dream as the light goes dim and the mind settles in. The 4/4 time of a nylon guitar, he undresses her gingerly from afar with his wit and his charm and an old world yarn. This poem is a little change of mood. This is for my lovely wife. It was written about her, actually, and it's entitled The Inspector. I had just taken the last bite of my grilled lobster tail, and she was wiping the melted butter off my face. "Come closer, old man." "There, I got it," she said. "We're always making a mess." She's been in her post for 26 years. Experience brings out the best. Most times I can find her at her immaculate desk, like in a still life in the morning light, with a grand master paints and with measured passion full of grace, a bowl of fruit I can almost taste. Everything is in its proper place, and I am briefly left to trace, with my lazy eye and hand that shakes, the perfect lines of beauty's face. She is the watchman at my gate, the sweet fruit of my fate. She is the only one who seems to give a damn about this crazy old man, but on any given day she does have her ways. The inspector always stands above the fray, with her spectacles perched at the tip of her nose, her favorite pose, her magnifying glass held up close. She is the queen of quality control, could have made billions as CEO, instead chose me for her long and noble patrol. She is a true Capricorn, I am a fake, constantly searching for what I've misplaced. My desk is an abomination, chaos for every occasion. The inspector has no patience for my detached forays into outer space. the haphazard haze that consumes my days. Where's my glasses? Where's my wallet? Where's my phone? Where's my keys? Have become the pet phrases of my chronic disease, from which she cringes and runs away, leaving me to contemplate, to retrace my steps, my acts, to recapture the time before the lapse in my conscious thoughts, rewire the synapse, the silent gaps where I often get lost. This daily exercise that in some crazy way keeps me sane. She was born to supervise, to direct and circumscribe, in short, to have my hide where she prefers at bay, her humble knave, heaping high praise, hoisting bouquets. By the second hot sake, the room at Benihana's was coated with a thick glaze. We were seated right away with some French family of 5 who avoided us like the plague, never once acknowledging us or looking our way. How strange, we were bored and they self-absorbed, but I was not so lost in alcoholic thought as to fail to notice that our dinner order had not been sought. When in walks these 4 Latinas shaking all their better parts out to break men's hearts, dressed to kill, in stiletto heels with painted lips and nails and legs that don't quit, and they're working it. And the chef is all over them performing tricks, juggling chopsticks, greasing their grill, and we're waiting still. There are 2 other chefs standing off to the side, chatting and preoccupied. Now I'm getting mad. Red, like the blood rushing to my head, and the veins are popping in my neck, so I dig down deep to my Brooklyn street in the most guttural of Bath Beach speak, and I let out such a yell, the 5 Frenchies' faces swell. You ready? You cook for us yet? The inspector is mortified. Very fucking classy, she child. As she rolls her hazel eyes, I can't believe you did that. What do you mean, I say, with no remorse? It's not right. They came in after us, and they're already served. It doesn't matter, she snarls. You don't act like that. What are you, an animal? Well, maybe I was a little crass, but after my bucolic blast, we got served pretty darn fast. This poem, I don't really have a title for it, so the title is the first line. Where do you start a story like this? And this is about my childhood growing up in Brooklyn, and mentions of some characters here who the poet following me has a connection to, and Michael, that's Michael.
Michael Schwartz, yeah.
That's Michael Schwartz, yeah.
Right.
I know my act. Anyway, Michael, this is for you.
Well, thank you.
Where do you start a story like this? Do you delve down deep in the dirty mess, or just reminisce with no redress? Tell tales from the nest? Dress up the facts more or less, or do you come clean? Let the truth redeem you from your streetcar dreams, the bleeding into your complex of genes, experiential ways and means you adapt to your changing illusion. When did you first sense things were amiss? When clutching your tie in the morning mist, on your first schoolyard line with the rest of the kids, waiting to climb to cruel destiny's crest, up cracked concrete stairs, through gray metal doors, polished wood floors and gymnasium smells, through corridors of hell to inkwell cells. You sat unsure and fitfully still, viscerally feeling all that you knew, the calm before the kill in front of you, the stories you heard that you likened to the ghetto Jew in his blue Warsaw suit, with pauper's amulet and broken tooth, the shallow breath of an asthmatic youth, the fear of death only mama's hand could soothe. What more could you ask for than a loving home? You look outside and find a new metronome. What can a kid know? Are you prepared to go, to be handed over to friend and foe, to strangers from an even stranger home? Your lunchbox was packed with leftover dishes, Hershey's Kisses and a host of well-wishers, from Jack the Barber, the Unger brothers, Dominic the shoeman in Maddie's Tavern, the Kleinrocks and Romanos, the candy store owner, Elena the glazer and Casey Stengel. You believed in angels and faraway stars and 2 flights up to Mama and Daddy's arms, and milk and cookies and potato pudding and days playing hooky and Sally's wedding, when you realized you were just little boy blind by the first big crush of your forming mind, leaning toward daydream and flights of all kind. Perhaps it began in the stickball streets by the pickle barrels of Old Bath Beach when you looked up the skirt of your 3rd grade teach, or the day you became a little thief and lifted Mama's $5 bill, then stole away with Richie Andresco to conquer fear in a cinema reel with 3-cent rides on a banana peel, popcorn, candy, and a place not to feel. Steeplechase Park and the Wonder Wheel, its electric spark and magnetic field and the make-believe dark and barkish feel. You could spin and whirl, stop the world for real. Beholden to no one, your secret dream, free to get scared and let go a good scream. All the guilt and sadness lost in between, the wild-eyed smile and mystical gleam of an open heart willing to receive a potpourri of possibility. A sense you can be what you want to be. Movie star rolling the dice on a whim. A stroke of luck and you can be like him. Grab the brass ring of your imagining. Little fugitive, meet Richie the King. And one day of takes in Coney Island before the sun goes down and the stream goes silent. And the bully boys show you things can get violent. Till your dad grabs a neck and rings out the vengeance and they never come prowling round your block again. You can still see them running like the ruddy wind.